because we have, what would we be?
Oh, wow.
You're good and I'm bad. We need an ugly guy.
What would we be, boy? The smug and the arrogant.
That's pretty good, man. How come there's never been a hipster parody of this movie? The smug, the arrogant, and the erudite.
There you go. Yeah. I think it's rather interchangeable with. I've been called smug recently, and I was called arrogant by that, but that was by a Republican who told me I was arrogant in my arguments.
Well, they're stupid, so they call you pretentious or arrogant to try and discredit your just thought out opinion or
correct
or facts.
The use arrogant is just they're trying to substitute for their own.
I don't want to get into this already. We're already going to be talking about the southern side of the Civil War, which today would include the Republicans. Henry, the good, the bad, and the ugly is what we're talking about today. It's the third movie in the Man with No Name trilogy, and boy, oh boy, am I furious we covered this.
Oh.
This is not a franchise.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. It's pretty weird. I mean, I had similar. I had more. Well, we talked about it last week, and then I had the same thoughts last night when I watched this. The only thing I was thinking is that I feel like there's precedent on this show for the overall arching. You know, if you get technical about a franchise, Batman, for instance, is not that we did 9 movies or whatever. That's not all linked. You know, they're completely separate entities.
Henry, you ignorant slut. All the Batman movies are connected by one simple fact. And that's Batman. That the main character of the movies is named Batman.
Okay, but
I think doesn't even have that. These are clearly not the same characters. Listen, last movie, I was trying to create, last podcast, I remember I was trying to create a sense of continuity in my head.
Sure, right, yeah.
This week, it's out the window because Lee Van Cleef comes back. Obviously, bro number 1 from For a Few Dollars More. This guy's Biffle for life, okay? Yeah. And in this movie, he's just flat out a heel. They have clearly never met before. I was trying in the back of my head to create some sort of significance to this, to their conversations. Like maybe they were hiding their emotional history from Tuco or something. But no, this is just a different movie.
And all this took place years before the first 2 anyway. So
is that true?
Yeah. This is the Civil War. Those 2 took place in the 1870s, so this is the prequel, if it's anything.
So when he meets Lee Van Cleef in For a Few Dollars More, does he remember him from this movie?
He already killed him. He's dead.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right! What the fuck?
Yeah, what's comparable to this? What is called... There are other things that are...
Listen, we have covered...
I don't mean not with us, but
no. I'm just saying, like, as franchises, we've covered movies that are like thematically linked, like Kieslowski's 3 Colors or something, or like even like there's movies like that where like people say like Bergman's Silence of God trilogy with like Through a Glass Darkly, The Silence, and Winter Light. Like that's his trilogy about examining faith, you know, and so. I get that on the one hand, but this is the only thing I can think of that purports to be a franchise. It has the same main actor in the movies, playing the same character type in the same genre, the same part of the world, using the same filmmakers and the same composer and the same look, and they're just not. It's like they're aggressively unlinked. It's like they want to be linked and they're trying not to be.
Yes, because it honestly, I mean, there would have been a way, I suppose, if you used a different actor than Lee Van Cleef in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or something like that. You could have made this a through-line story, because I think even in For a Few Dollars More from A Fistful of Dollars, there's easily a link you can make. You can make that Eastwood character the same guy.
I agree. I think
doable.
you could do a thing in Good, the Bad, and the Ugly where you make For a Few Dollars More sort of the Tokyo Drift of the franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to use. You can't. I don't know. You can't have Lee Van Cleef in there, and I'm only saying that because
I read an interview with Lee Van Cleef. It was just linked on the Wikipedia page.
Sure.
And he said something like, they only brought me back for the third one because they forgot. Why am I giving a southern accent? He's from New Jersey.
I read that.
Yeah, they only brought me back for the third one because they forgot to kill me in the second one. And I'm like, you get you're playing a different person, right?
Well, I think
Like, I'm not sure he understands that.
I think he's kidding. I think he's kidding around.
Are you sure? The script
didn't
was
take
in
it like
Italian.
Yeah, he's Ellen. That's the other thing. That's the weird part about Lee Van Cleef as well. And For a Few Dollars More, he is playing a Southerner, but he doesn't use a Southern accent. In this one, he is a Northerner, so he doesn't need the accent. And he's a Union captain in this.
Angel Eyes.
Oh Lord, yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that Jennifer Lopez movie was named after the Lee Van Cleef character in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
I think the filmmakers clearly did their research.
What was that movie?
That's Jim. How was it?
No, what? Like, I saw it twice, and I still couldn't tell you anything about it.
It's got Jesus in it, Jim Caviezel.
Yeah, he was in everything around that time, though.
He sure was.
We really thought he was going to be a star.
Yeah, Thin Red Line, too. Star in Thin Red Line, really?
He is the fucking star of the Thin Red Line. I'm thinking Frequency, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. He's. I don't know. I don't remember Angel. It's just some supernatural shit going on. That's
Is
all I
it
recall.
supernatural, though? Or is it just like a cop thing?
I feel like there was a supernatural bent.
Okay.
Classic.
Gang, get back at us on the comments board and let us know what the plot of Angel Eyes was with Jennifer Lopez.
I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah. All right, H-Dog. Let's talk about The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
Who would we have brought on for The Ugly?
On the
What
show?
former guest could we have brought on to portray The Ugly on The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
Boy, so maybe we shouldn't use ugly as a pejorative.
Let's rank our former guests by attractiveness.
Oh boy.
Okay, who's topping the list? Jason Anthony Harris?
We have females too. They can count.
I think Harris is more attractive than any of the females we've had on the show. Hey, Shandy from that 50 Shades. She's a good-looking lady. And Martha. And Al, the real weird sisters. Hey, they're all good-looking. I feel like we don't allow ugly people on the show.
It's not really something that looks good for us.
Maybe Tim, when he has a soul patch. Sometimes Shut Up Tim, our former guest, has a soul patch. And we could have had him on as the ugly.
Oh, all right.
His soul patch could have represented it.
The soul patch.
Can you imagine see, to me, like, Tim is my friend, right? But sometimes he has a soul patch, and then I'm like, am I friends with him? Because I can't imagine. I just can't imagine, like, someone in 2021 with a soul patch being, like, a normal person.
Right. It's kind of like the samurai bun on a white guy.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's even, like, more acceptable on some level.
I see that a lot down here, which is odd to me.
Well, you live a little near the beach, Henry, and I feel like those are beach bros.
It's a good point. Yeah, it's true.
Thanks,
Beach
brother.
bros. Jesus.
Yeah, maybe I'll be a beach bro this summer. The world's my oyster, Henry. I have nowhere to be.
Yeah, I know. And you only work like 2 hours a week.
That's bullshit. I only work 2 days a week, Henry, but I work many, many hours on those days.
3 days, isn't it? Three.
It is 3, Henry. Thanks.
You
got that triple berry seltzer over there, buddy?
Yeah, I have a triple berry over here and a black cherry right now.
Oh, we'll love it. Okay. Good to bad. Yeah, let's talk about it. Leone's back, of course. Sergio Leone.
Yes, the Italian.
All right. Yeah, spaghetti western. Do you find that offensive as an Italian? I feel like you're very triggered as an Italian.
No.
I feel like you're never offended by anything in the world unless it's Italian stereotypes.
No, I'm not offended by that at all.
Okay, great.
No. I think stupid things to be offended by are annoying to me. That's all. There are big problems in the world, and I don't like when people are offended by dumb shit.
I sort of agree with you, Henry, and that's become not a cool thing to say because of like cancel culture or whatever. But like I've felt this way my whole life. Like, just like people say shit about Jews all the time, and like I'm not really offended. I'm like annoyed by it a little bit.
See, that stuff offends me. I'm sensitive to that.
I feel like I'm never offended.
Yeah. No, what I mean is like, people are fucking dying around the world for healthcare, COVID, people are in prisons, kids in cages, and we're talking about Pepe Le Pew. That kind of shit bothers me. It's a waste of time.
Henry, Pepe Le Pew is a sexual predator, and I think you should be more sensitive to those of us who can be triggered by sexually aggressive French skunks.
Yeah. Are the French offended by it? I haven't checked in.
That's a great question, Henry. Are the French offended at being branded sexual molesting, smelly people?
Yeah. I mean, I think that would be the question, because skunks can't speak, but...
Hey, French listeners, get back to me. Are you French and not a sexual molesting skunk? Are you offended by Pepe Le Pew?
Get back to us anyway. I was thinking about it last week. We have almost no, seems like, fan base in Italy or France. What's with that?
Does that bother you as an Italian?
No, I just don't understand why we're not popular in the romantic Mediterranean countries.
Yeah, get back to me, Israelis.
That would be great.
No.
We're heard. It seems like we're heard in the most obscure, which is great. I love it.
The problem with getting popular in Israel is, the show tends to be skewed towards young people. I think most of our listeners are in their 20s.
That's not true.
I think
people in their 50s.
I know it's all over the map, but I'm saying like the median age is probably pretty young. And over in Israel, they're all in the army.
They're all in the Israeli Defense Force.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You have to be from birth.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Leone has brought along some writers. Luciano Vincenzoni is back. He, of course, helped with the last one. But we also have a team of Age and Scarpelli. Agenori, Incroci, and Furio Scarpelli.
Well, okay, not too bad. I'm always interested in your pronunciations.
How'd I do? Not bad?
Good.
All right.
Good.
Do you know Furio Scarpelli and the other guy?
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan of their work. They worked on some Pixar movies, I believe.
I was surprised to see them involved here. They were sort of a successful Italian writing team at the time. But largely known for comedy, I think.
I see that.
Yeah. They're best known in America, Henry, for writing as very old men in the 90s, the film Il Postino, The Postman.
Yeah, a film I have not ever rated because not all the way.
Because what? You can make it through it? Listen, I'm living. Remember that old apartment I used to live in where you could never hear me because we have bad internet?
Yes.
That's where I live again now. All right, so you're just going to break up here. I'm going to talk like this. Everyone's going to fucking hate the show, and I'm going to hate my life. That's how things are going to go from now on.
Great. I'm very excited to be part of this whole enterprise.
Great. Okay. This film was released... Oh, do you know how this got made, Henry? Did you read the Wikipedia entry?
I did.
Okay, well, so basically, the first two movies were finally released here in America, and they did well. And so United Artists went and offered Sergio Leone $1 million budget to make a third one. He wasn't that psyched about it, but Luciano Vincenzoni, his co-writer, was intrigued and went off and wrote a treatment for this movie. Leone liked the treatment, agreed to do it, and then all of a sudden they fucking had a $1.2 million budget from UA, brought back Clint and Lee Van Cleef, and they were making this movie. It ends up coming out December 23rd, 1966 in Italy, fairly soon after that, especially when compared to the first two in America. And then it makes a big box office at $25.1 million. Big success and launches Clint Eastwood's career here in America.
And Clint was a little bit more in a position to be demanding, correct? He actually got some box office returns for this. He demanded like $125,000 up front. It was like a very different deal for him. If you think 2 movies ago he got $15,000 flat straight fee, now he's already jumping his fees up.
Yeah, I mean, he was a TV actor then, and now at the very least he's a guy with buzz at the movies.
Yeah. So he's able to make some demands.
Yeah, and now he's annoyed by Sergio Leone's many takes and stuff. So he decided to fight back against that by never doing multiple takes on any scene for the rest of his career.
We talked about that a bit last week. You think that's a little bit what's going on with his directing career? He's got a little PTSD from working with Leone. He's like, I'm never going to do that.
I think that he started directing very soon after working with Leone, and I gotta think that some part of his style is a reaction to what was happening on this movie.
What's his first one? Play Misty for Me?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, it wasn't a Western, I don't think. Yeah, 72, 73, something like that.
Yeah, I think Hang 'em High is right around the same time.
But I don't know if he directed that.
I think he did. Am I wrong?
Did he? I don't know. Il Brutto, Il Cattivo.
Did he direct Breezy?
Buono.
That was around then.
Breezy. Can I repronounce the beautiful pronunciation of the movie we're covering?
Go ahead.
Thanks. Il Buono, Il Brutto, Il Cattivo.
Okay, he didn't direct Hang 'em High. Play Misty for Me was the first one, and then he followed up with High Plains Drifter and Breezy.
All right, I called everything. Thank you very much.
I guess. All right. So let's talk about this 3-hour epic. It's interesting that it's 3 hours, Henry. I feel like it's a simpler plot than some of the other ones.
Yeah, I was anxious to get into this with you because, it's a classic movie. It's regarded by everybody as the best of the trilogy, pretty much. It's got 5 stars across the board. I mean, I've known it my whole life. Who doesn't? Strictly speaking, I believe in this viewing. I haven't watched it in a long time. There's some fat on this movie. I think there's some fat on this movie. Could have been cut.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, I don't disagree with you. Like, if you're really looking at it in terms of, like, let's look for the fat. There's definitely fat in this movie, but I also think that part of the strength of it is how huge it is, and I don't think that final face-off, even with like the epic score and all that, would be as affecting if it was a shorter movie.
No, I understand what you mean. I just think that there wouldn't have been much lost if we cut out some of the Civil War stuff.
What do you want to cut?
The extended long sequence, the final Civil War sequence when they're setting up the blowing up of the. I feel like that bridge can just be blown up with a very quick setup rather than visiting yet pack of scum.
Pretty sure I want to quit the show. Henry, so you're annoyed by the Civil War stuff. Is that the problem?
No, you know what it is? I just it was just funny because it's like kind of a continuation of something I've complained about before, when it's like British or now Italian or foreign people, like they seem to have a unending sympathy with the Confederacy, and I've read this historically too. It's just very strange to me, and I'm not sure what it stems from. I don't know if they view them as underdogs or something. It's just sort of
because they lost, Henry.
Yeah, it just repeatedly happens in film, and
but you're not supposed to think about it, Henry. What you're supposed to do as a viewer, this is what all the Italian filmmakers want you to do. And by the way, I am with you on this because I just rewatched a movie that you have been shitting on for years, and you were absolutely right every step of the way. Ride with the Devil by Ang Lee.
Yeah.
All right.
Another one.
So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to think about the North and the South in the Civil War, but you're not supposed to think about what the Civil War was about or fought for. And
That's
so,
right.
Yes, the South were fighting for the right to enslave human beings and use them as cattle, but you're not supposed to think about that.
Yeah, right, which is very hard.
Is that a problem for you?
Yes, it is a problem for me, and I don't know if it's because I'm American. I would think it's because I'm a human, but I mean, I don't understand other countries' civil wars.
I think if America voted for whether or not we have slaves today, we would vote to have slaves.
74 million would, sure. Yeah, it's just disconcerting. I mean, even when I rewatch, and this is relevant, I'm not just rambling. I even rewatched, like, not too long ago, Ken Burns' Civil War, the famous thing. That thing is, like, literally headed by a Southern historian. And all he does is constantly talk about the greatness of Stonewall Jackson and General Lee, and it's nauseating.
How are they great, though? They fought in one war, and they're 0 for 1.
I know. It's really nauseating, man. I just get tired of it, and I just watch News of the World, and even Greengrass, a British guy, you know, he took apparently the original story was the guy was just a veteran of the Mexican War. And Greengrass made him a Confederate in the Civil War. It's like, what?
Because he wants to make an American Western, and you can't have Mexicans.
The Union guy.
Yeah, but Mexico's close to the South, Henry. They share a border.
It was Americans and Mexicans. He didn't even have to change the war. It's just like, I don't. Now there were British who sympathized greatly with the Confederates and hoped they'd win, so our country would be overthrown because they lost their war against us. So, but it just gets annoying. So when I was watching Good, Bad, and the Ugly, I was just like, oh great, more Union pigs.
How awesome must England have felt during the American Civil War? Like, if I'm a British guy, and it, like, even if I wasn't alive in 1776, and I'm like watching the news, or I guess listening to the news. Does radio exist yet?
getting telegraphs and newspapers.
All right, I'm reading the news every day. I'm getting up, getting my paper, sitting over my coffee, and saying, look at these motherfuckers. They thought they could start their own country and watch them. And you know what? They were right. And this country does fucking suck still. It's awful. This was like a weird upstart country late in life, and we fucked it up every step of the way. This country's a piece of shit, Henry.
Yeah.
All right? And so, like, I understand, like, if outsiders want to look at us and say, like, they're all nuts, all right, but like Anthony Minghella and Ang Lee and Sergio Leone at some point should have to look back at their careers and go like, boy, a lot of my heroes wanted to enslave black people.
Fucking A, man. And it just gets really tiresome. I'm sure if I was living in another country and we watch foreign movies, you and I, like a lot of people, all the time, and there are many events I don't understand and don't know the ins and outs of. And if I was watching something that was just repeatedly depicted in some hero-worshipping bullshit way, morally wrong, I'd want to be called out on it and be like, oh, hey, by the way, that's not actually how this happened over in, Egypt or whatever. It's like, okay. But it's just like this repeated thing. And so when I saw it in Good, Bad, and the Ugly, I remembered it existed. I just didn't remember how much it existed in the movie and how much time is spent on it. And it just gets wearisome.
Henry,
That's all.
Are the Irish Republican Army heroes? Because I watched about 75 movies in the 90s about how they were.
That's a complicated situation. To some they're heroes, to some they're not. Michael Collins was a member of the IRA, and then extremist members of the IRA who were mad at him for compromising with England killed him. So, it's like, it's...
Yeah, like Brad Pitt in The Devil's Own.
And honestly, I would defer to an Irishman for that question. Much like I would think an Englishman or somebody would defer to an American, possibly, for the Civil War question.
Yeah, but that's a big... Like, if they're deferring to a fucking Southern guy...
Yeah, I know, right, of course. Well, right, yeah. I don't know, man. Well, there's a lot of historians who just say rhetorically that the South never did lose the war because they still got everything they wanted. Power of Senate, power of Congress, states' rights. They have it all anyway. They control every vote we ever cast here. So it's kind of like they really, in certain ways, won.
Yeah.
Segregation.
Yeah, they're going to suppress the shit out of all our votes. You can't give water on the lines down there anymore.
No.
Hey, but I say maybe I'll just stay in New York. It's the only sane state in the nation. But then we've got, like, Cuomo fucking it up. Like, there's no safe space, Henry. Everywhere sucks. This world is garbage.
Except Antigua and Barbuda.
No, I bet they fucking suck, too.
Don't talk shit on number one.
No, I'm sure we got great listeners in Antigua and Barbuda, and they'll tell us all about how their leaders are money-worshipping pieces of shit. Like,
you're right.
That's everywhere.
Yeah, you're right about that.
All right, let's get back to this fucking movie. All right.
Otherwise, besides the Civil War shit, I think it's a hell of a movie. Eli Wallach, it did not occur to me before in previous viewings. He fucking rules, man.
Yeah, he's not that ugly. They could go uglier, I think.
Yeah. He's so far above everyone else in the movie. It's kind of nuts.
You mean better? Like in terms of performance?
Yes.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think there are a lot of good performances in this movie, and I think so much of it is built on the visual style and the sound and everything. It's a real epic, an honest to goodness epic, and I'm sort of glad that it's not a continuation of the first two, because on the one hand, yeah, that makes a lot more sense for our podcast, but on the other hand, like, I do think that it would affect the movie, and I think that this movie is proof that, like, probably the best movies tend to come from a place of originality. I'm sure Henry didn't hear any of that. Hey, but I'll tell you what.
Sorry, I missed the entire sentence.
Yeah, no, I know. We don't hear each other. This show sucks. So I want to say Clint, it's interesting what they did with him, because I talked about I really think it's an original concept for this character. He's the man with no name, right? And he's been used that way in other movies since, where he's just like the quiet badass who appears in the town and fucking owns. But like that's not really what Sergio Leone's doing in these movies. In the first one, he's a prankster, Henry. We talked about it.
Right.
And in this one, I don't know. It's like something out of Ballad of Buster Scruggs. He's pranking people again, using this guy as a prop. He's turning in this criminal who's worth a few $1,000s.
Yeah.
And he's getting him hanged. And after he gets the money from the sheriff, he's shooting him down from the noose, saving him and getting out of there. First of all, I can't believe that they're getting away scot-free every time. And the second he shoots the noose, how is somebody not shooting this guy through the head?
It's incredible. It's a great ruse, but but I just noticed on the first time they do it, when Wallach is taken off on the horse, there's not a single person chasing him. Like nobody's
everybody is just like, what's going on here? And it's like, that guy's getting away. You're all holding guns. Shoot him.
I feel like we're supposed to believe that the second part of that escape, when Eastwood shoots their hats off, is to just confound them. And they're like, what's going on? What in tarnation just happened to that Mexican horse?
What's this, a hole in my hat? How'd that happen? So they're running this prank on people, and Eastwood does it for a while until this fella Tuco gets annoyed by it, and so he starts to get annoying, actually, and then Eastwood just like kicks him to the curb, right?
Yeah, it's brutal. I mean, he's just bitching for a bit, and then in Eastwood, I thought there'd be like a discernible, tangible reason why Eastwood is kind of like, I'm done with you, but he just literally kicks him off the horse and takes his share of the money. It's just
I know.
funny.
It is like a dad driving their teenage daughter home from school, and the teenage daughter's being an asshole in the back seat, and so like they leave him outside. Is that a thing that happens? My dad used to do it.
God damn, dude. And then takes their allowance money, on top of everything else. Because I thought at least he'd throw him his share. Like, all right, here, I don't want to work with you anymore, but here's your share.
Yeah, you could get a payphone home, call a cab.
I don't have a problem with him leaving him in the desert and all that shit. The thing that bothered me was him not giving him his share of the money. Jesus.
So are you then on Eli Wallach's side when he decides to get revenge on Clint?
I mean, I think so. I just question the folly of his persistence. I mean, he is hardcore. He is not as much. I didn't remember him being so hell bent on vengeance.
But what else are you doing back then? You're aimless in life. There's nothing going on. Like, if all of a sudden, like, you feel the need to get vengeance on somebody, at least that's like giving you some purpose.
That's true. By the way, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when Wallach goes into the gun store, and there's like almost no dialogue at all, and he's just trying out and looking at different guns with that hapless proprietor, and he's just, and then I love the shot where it shows him his face, and he points the gun backwards at the guy's. And you think he's asking like 20, and the guy, and he's like laughing, and I'm wondering like, oh, what is this negotiation? And then the guy goes higher, and then you realize that he's robbing him, which of course he's going to do when he walks in. But That's a great scene. I love that.
That is great stuff. Wallach plays it like a comedy role, which is kind of fun. I think there's another great proof that all the best art is funny. Like, nothing should be that downbeat. Like, even the most bummery shit should have its comedy elements.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think he does
Look
it with
at you.
like
You're not on board with that. You want shit to be downbeat. You like the Zack Snyder Justice League.
if I may.
Go ahead.
No, I just don't know that I thought that was completely accurate in the depiction you just said. He's definitely comic, but he's Roberto. Don't.
Yeah, we heard a few words of that, Henry. You don't think he's a comic character? You think he's
I'm not fully. Benini.
Oh, you compared him to Benini? I mean, Benini would have been good in this role. I'm trying to just, like, interpret the 4 words that I can hear you say. That's what this podcast is.
Sorry.
No, honestly, like, I can't do it anymore. I am quitting. This is the last episode. I don't even know if Henry heard me say that.
I did.
All right.
I've heard it before.
Yeah, we'll see if it sticks. Fuck it. What's next? Lee Van Cleef gets a hold of Clint and really rides him through the desert, tortures him. That seems like a nightmare.
Yeah, we get Clint and Eli are taken to a northern prison camp where we get a very emotional moment of Southern soldiers playing Southern ballads and the cruel Union general making the violinist cry, if you recall.
The what cry?
The violinist. He's ordering the Southern POWs to play music, and they get so emotional whistling Dixie that they cry. And the Union pig just,
they're very. They feel a lot of a sense of place. Like that's where they're from. We're from this beautiful land of treating human beings like animals.
We're
just celebrating our history. The Dukes of Hazzard, Hank Williams Jr., all of our great heroes and memories down here in the South.
I am Sergio Leone. I want to depict the American Civil War, which was fought for no reason. Did you read that quote by him?
No. I mean, I didn't. I think Sergio Leone, though, he just knows about this from Westerns, is the thing.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't actually know anything about the Civil War. I think he if there's something Sergio Leone knows about, it's movies. I really think he's like a student of film in the way, like, Tarantino now is like a student of his films.
Yeah, he's not a Renaissance man. You don't think he's like he's not one of these directors who's like reads history, studies languages. He doesn't do all these other things.
I don't see Sergio Leone as the type of filmmaker who is interested by things he's read and experienced. I think Sergio Leone is influenced by movies he's seen.
That's it.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a bad way of making movies. That's as good a way of any, and I think Sergio Leone is one of the best filmmakers there is. But I do think that when I'm watching a Sergio Leone movie that involves the Civil War, I kind of have to take a step back and think, like, this is a movie Civil War. This is not the Civil War.
Well, I had to do that, too. And
this is the spaghetti Civil War.
Yeah, correct. I had to do that, too. Otherwise, it's barely watchable. But, I mean, having said all that, there was some impressive... I mean, you can clearly see... We talked about the progression from Fistful to For a Few Dollars More, and you can clearly see the money being put to use here because he's got like this big battle, all these soldiers running around. Like, it was very evident. I was like, oh, we have choreography now. Like, we've got big explosions that look good. Like, it's way more sophisticated as a movie.
The edits are much slower, and the shots tend to be much wider in this one. We're really going for a widescreen extravaganza kind of a thing. I do think that he's trying to make something a little more in the vein of like an epic American movie, whereas like the spaghetti element was way more visible on screen in the first two, and especially in the first one, going for that sort of like grindhouse tendency, the violence and the pop art of it all, like that's kind of gone in this one. Yeah, the closest thing to it is probably Ennio Morricone's score, which I think is a top 5 score in motion picture history.
Yeah, I couldn't really disagree with that at all. I mean, I think that there are many great moments in the score throughout the movie, and their placement. I don't think that I think that the final 20 minutes are just. I mean, I rather than even say the score, I think the final 20 minutes of the film rank with some of the greatest moments, just with that score being ratcheted up, and because he's kind of using that score throughout the movie, but then it's like almost comes to like this orgasmic climax of the score.
Yeah,
peak, and he uses it, and Leone with the direction and the Mexican standoff. I mean, it's just unreal. I mean, the tension is insane. It's not dated in any way. It's not silly.
No,
it's amazing.
Yeah. I think just getting to the score for a second, like the whole. That is like what you grow up on. Like when someone mentions a Western in America, like as a kid, I feel like the first thing I would think of was, and the fact that deeply American and iconic piece of music isn't even the best piece of music in this movie is wild to me, because whole part in the final act with I mean, how does it go, Henry?
I'm trying to remember.
That shit is so wildly incredible. Like, it is brilliant.
Yeah, that's better, just to say, but that theme.
Oh, I got the word theme. Henry said the word theme.
That entire thematic element of that score, I think, is even better in certain ways, just the way it's used. I even forgot how much he uses the like 3,000 times.
Of course.
I think at the end it's a trumpet or something. It's just everything. He just throws everything in there.
There's a lot of choir happening too.
Yeah. That makes a big difference too. I think that's another thing with the budget. I think he's got more money, people to be in on that.
Sure. Fucking whatever. It gets to that standoff. I sort of love the way it's built up. It's a brilliant storyline that, I mean, has been used a lot since, but never quite as well, where like every character has a piece of information, and if they put them together, like, they'll have the answer, but they don't trust each other and they don't want to work with each other. It just ultimately it gets to the end and they have to do it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so Eli Wallach knows what cemetery that the money is hidden in, and Clint has the name of the gravestone it's in. See, now Clint could just Google where that person's buried and go to the cemetery.
That's true.
But during the Civil War, we didn't have Google, right?
It was in its nascent stages.
Oh, right, yeah. It was just Ask Jeeves back then.
Yeah. 1862. Yeah.
Clint. All right, Jeeves. Where's Asher buried? Whatever the fuck it was. All right.
Arch Stanton.
Arch Stanton. That's right. It's a great name.
Great name. Yeah.
Clint's Blondie in this one.
I love that.
Which he would
name.
never be called again as long as he lived.
Yeah, I'm sure years later, I don't know how he felt about that, but
he called Sandra Locke Blondie.
That's right.
All right, H-Dog, where you want to head next?
Well, so Lee Van Cleef is a corrupt Union captain who goes to kill this guy to find the identity of someone who knows about a cash box. And, you know, that's...
And so the first time Lee Van Cleef brings up the fucking cash box, I'm like, are they talking about the one they stole from the bank in the last one?
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about that because it just, you know, I know. Were you really thinking that? You were desperately trying to...
I am watching these movies and analyzing them for a podcast about movie franchises called The Franchise. I am trying to track the story, but there isn't one.
No, there's no story. Yeah. So we basically learned pretty quickly that... I mean, I was surprised. I didn't remember this, that it's a reveal that Lee Van Cleef is in the army. You don't know that for like the first fucking hour of the movie. You think he's just some evil bounty hunter.
I definitely thought he was a bounty hunter because that was his occupation in the previous film.
and now you see that it just has this scene where all of a sudden he appears in a prison camp wearing the Union clothes, and I actually didn't even understand it right away. I was like, oh, okay, so he's impersonating a Union soldier. He's killed a Union soldier now. But then they're all taking orders from him, and then I'm just like, oh, okay, I guess that's a reveal. Like it's a little odd, but I got it.
This is the kind of movie, it just does not want to be part of a trilogy.
You're obsessed with this.
It doesn't. It's its own movie. Like as its own movie, this is like a 5, and as a part of a trilogy, it's like a 2.
Yeah. No, I know. Maybe Leone also just had a different idea back then of what a trilogy meant. You know, I don't think he thought of them as having to be thematically connected.
Yeah, he sees it more as a triptych or whatever. But I don't.
Yes.
It would be something if they were thematically connected. They're not really connected at all, except that they're westerns with Clint Eastwood in them.
Yeah, I know. And even the moniker, one of the monikers, you know, as you said last week, one of them's Dollars Trilogy, but the other one is the Man with No Name Trilogy.
Which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, I've seen DVD sets marketed with that name, and it doesn't make any fucking sense. If any, he's the many men with too many names.
Yeah. I mean, you could call, like, it's Leone. It's because they're all by Leone. That's why. Because otherwise, you could lop in, you know, Hang 'em High Plains Drifter, and, you know, fucking Two Mules for Sister Sarah, and call it a trilogy, and say it's the Man with No Name Trilogy. Like,
I mean, you could do it with almost anything.
Yeah.
You can't tell me like they could have figured out a way like, hey, Triple X, it's the sequel to Fast and the Furious, all right? Just accept that, okay?
Yeah, you're right. You're very right on that. I don't know.
Commando's the sequel to Terminator. Shut the fuck up.
Right. And it'll be like, oh, but he was okay. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I don't get it. But anyway, What a classic film, Henry. Really loved it. It builds up to an incredible denouement, and everybody gets out of it all right. Hey, does anyone die?
Well, yeah, Eastwood kills Lee Van Cleef in the standoff, and had previously unloaded Eli Wallach's gun. Did you remember any of that? When was the last time you saw this?
It's been years. I remembered the standoff pretty well just because it's so memorable, but I did not remember that he unloaded the gun. That's kind of funny.
I'm so happy that I didn't remember that. I mean, I kept thinking when they were looking at each other, I was convinced that Eastwood and Wallach would make the eye contact that said to each other, all right, we're both going to shoot Lee Van Cleef.
Yeah, one thing the series does that is they do make every iteration of Eastwood's character clever and creative. Where a lot of the westerns of this era, they'd have like a guy show up in a small town and it's just he's the fastest gun. Like he draws the fastest, he'll kill you quickest, and that's really all you need. Whereas like. Yes, Clint Eastwood is set up as being like a fast draw or whatever, but he also does shit like unload that one dude's stuff and prank people. Like he's kind of he's a real Bugs Bunny of the West.
Yeah, and he's also just kind of he's different in every movie in subtler ways. I feel like his character in For a Few Dollars More is probably like a better person. And even in Fistful, like he that moving moment at the end with Lee Van Cleef when he gives him the watch and he like helps him out, and then in Fistful of Dollars when he rescues that woman and her family, and in this one he's more playful. But I also like there's an element in these movies that wasn't repeated too much in Eastwood's career, which is where he allows himself, it's written for him, but he gets his ass kicked. Like, he's not an untouchable, you know what I mean? And he only really came back to that in, like, Unforgiven. I mean, I haven't seen Josie Wales in a while, but, you know, in many other Eastwood Westerns, he's just untouchable. He's like the fucking Steven Seagal of, you can't hurt him. And in these movies, he's, like, on the brink of death.
I guess you're right. I've never seen a lot of those, like, Eastwood Westerns from the 70s. Like, I've never seen Hang 'em High or High Plains Drifter or Bronco Billy. Or Pale Horse, so I've got to see some of those. I'm not really familiar with them.
I mean, I reckon my two of my favorites are Pale Rider and High Plains.
Oh, Pale Rider is what I meant. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but High Plains Drifter is really sort of that's the most, in my recollection, the most brutal. But he's just very untouchable, and in these movies, he's a lot more human, just even physically. And I also wanted to say another thing I liked about this movie was that. And another reason I just don't know that I know he's the comic relief, but Eli Wallach's character, that he's also very tough. Like, his gun skills are, like, shown to be pretty much just as good. I mean, he threatens Eastwood in that hotel. Eastwood has to put the noose around his neck. Like, I like that he's not a total buffoon.
Yeah, no. Eastwood taking the bullets out of his gun at the end is a sign of respect. It's not like showing that this guy is a fucking goofball who can't be trusted. It's more showing that, like, he does know how to use his gun, and that's a variable I do not need in this situation.
Yeah, right. Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree, and I like that. And the ending is also great, too, because I think it's almost like, if we're going to believe that Eastwood's Blondie is the good, you know, Eli Wallach betrayed him like 10 times. And so then at the end, he gives him the gold, but he gets his own revenge on him in the identical way, with the identical lines, and makes him get on the noose. And, you know, he runs away, and you know he's going to shoot him down. But it feels good. I felt good that he left him with his half of the gold.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been very fucked up if he just, you know, because I think there's a key scene we didn't talk about. It's the only scene to give Eli Wallach's character any sort of real background is the scene with his brother.
Remind me.
The brother, the priest, and the priest berates him for being a bandit and a thief and leaving the family and all that. And Tuco turns around and sort of cowers into the wall with emotion and then yells at him and says, "You left me. It's easy for you to say because you went to become a priest, but you left me with mom and dad, and I had to do this for a living, so you're not pure." And I think that's a wonderful scene.
Yeah, it adds a lot of humanity and depth to the character. In many ways, he is the audience surrogate in the movie. Like,
yes,
you feel more for the Eli Wallach character than anybody else. And I wonder if branding him ugly and then giving him that scene was meant to blossom that character in your eyes as a surrogate. I don't know. It is an interesting thing to include and something that not every director would have.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's there because otherwise he's just bad and just does shitty things.
Yeah, well, but I don't know that we... So I forgot that every character is branded good, the bad, and the ugly. Like when we first meet them, like literally we get a title card, like where Clint Eastwood is the good, Lee Van Cleef is the bad, and Eli Wallach is the ugly. And what's interesting is that I think the only one that doesn't really evolve is Lee Van Cleef. Like he's kind of treated as the bad the entire movie. He's the bad guy, but like the other two are a little more wishy-washy, and I think that's intentional. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is an incredibly... I mean, it's a cool title. It's great. But it's also, in terms of its viewpoint, very naive when you think about what these movies are actually about.
Yeah, it's malleable. I mean, because I feel like ugly is obviously not meaning physically. It's meaning in, like, just... maybe an ugly lifestyle, an ugly background, you know. Lee Van Cleef is bad. He's just evil, you know. But
by the end, is Eli Wallach the good and Eastwood the ugly?
I don't know. I mean, that's, you know, honestly, I feel like I felt like the most ambiguous character was Eastwood.
I completely agree, because Eastwood is very much the hero in the first two movies, and he's not... First of all, he has the least amount of screen time. Like, he really is only given like a third of screen time in this 3-hour movie, which I saw bothered Eastwood in real life, which is great.
Yeah, I did. So I read.
He's like, "Oh, we had 2 actors in the second one. Now we have 3. What, in the next one, I'm going to be in there with the entire army?" It's like, motherfucker, you can't be in a 3-hander? That bothers you? Fucking asshole. It's not even a woman in this movie, you idiot. All right.
I know. Wait, what is that? There's one woman in this movie. All she does is get beat up by Lee Van Cleef.
Yeah.
In a bedroom. Yeah.
Why not? Okay. So that's the end of the movie. Do you want to talk about anything else? You're frozen right now. I'm just looking at a nice... You guys, he looks handsome. All right, he's back.
I totally lost you there.
I know. It's okay. I kept it going. Hey, Henry, what do you give this movie?
5 stars.
Is your MVP Wallach?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I think mine is too.
I don't know how he couldn't be. I mean,
what did he do after this? What's his career like?
You know, it's fascinating. You want to know something else fascinating? I was totally interested to see the ages of these guys. Wallach is 15 years older than Eastwood. Lee Van Cleef is only 5 years older than Eastwood. Wallach is 10 years older than Lee Van Cleef, and I just found that fascinating. Eli Wallach looks good. He's like fucking 50 years old in this movie. And
he kept going for a long time. Do you know that his last credit is Wall Street 2?
I remember.
We'll cover it.
I remember it, and I remember him in The Ghostwriter.
Oh, yeah. And he's in The Godfather 3, too.
Yeah. No, he was born in 1915, dude.
This motherfucker just worked, didn't he? God, I'm looking at his IMDb page. It's wild. Good for him. The great Eli Wallach, MVP, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, LVP for me is that not very good actor and dumb character of the drunk Union captain who wants the bridge to be blown up, and Eastwood like winks at him and like says, "Oh, have a drink." That was so dumb.
I like that wink moment though.
It was so bad. Like, honestly, that's not even like me being like...
No. That's totally what it is. But I sort of liked it. I thought it was funny.
Okay. Well, he's my LVP.
That's fair. I mean, this has got to be a pretty hard one to come up with. I don't have anything off the top of my head.
That one just stood out to me pretty quickly. I mean...
Aldo Giuffre, by the way, is that actor.
Right.
He's dead, so, you can talk shit about him if you want.
Yeah, I don't mind.
He died of peritonitis. What is that?
That sounds like something in the mouth. Sounds like an infection of the mouth. Is that correct?
I don't know, man. We'll go with that.
Click it.
Hey, listen, I'm going to go with horses.
Just horses?
Horses in general.
Horses are beautiful animals.
They smell bad. They're not cute. That is the one problem with Westerns is like if they were riding mules or something, it'd be a lot cuter.
Oh, my God. Horses are fucking awesome. You ever been on a horse?
Yeah, of course. We've all been on horses.
Horses. Not everybody's been on a horse.
You know what? I have a little bit of trauma associated with horses, and I wonder if that affects my feelings about them. When I was like 4 years old... when we were still living in Brooklyn, my mom handed me to a police officer on a horse and took a picture of me. It was like, yo, you want to go up on this horse with the police officer? Like, that's cute, And I was scared and I cried. And so my mom has like 2 pictures of me being held by this police officer, just wailing, just miserable.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, and so nothing against horses. I might have some childhood trauma.
I understand. With being with a cop on a horse would be doubly traumatizing. Horses are amazing. I've ridden them in my adult life, and it is one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life. I've been thrown. It's tough.
You've been thrown from a horse?
Yeah.
Why aren't you a paraplegic right now, like Christopher Reeve?
Yeah, I got a joke.
Oh, we heard the word joke. That was good. Hey, I know. Right. It's frustrating, Henry. I know. That was like a good story. You want to try that last sentence one more time?
Yeah, I was just on this horse, and we were doing jumps and shit, and I turned a corner, and I was too fast for me, and I fell. I got thrown on. He didn't throw me. I more like fell off and got thrown what felt like 300 miles an hour into a bale of hay. It was great stuff.
Guys, I'm glad I went back.
And I didn't get scared. I got right back up and started riding again, but it's very scary being on a horse.
You aren't a pussy like that Christopher Reeve, man. You never got on one again.
No. I wish everyone could see Dan's Christopher Reeve impression. Unfortunately, it's a visual impression.
It is a visual impression. If you ever live with me like Henry did, maybe I'll do it for you sometime.
It was one of the first impressions he did for me. I knew we'd be friends for life.
Yeah. That is. I mean, it's even worse now that he's dead. That was one of the worst things. I did it for years.
Yeah. Well, we all have bad. That's all we do on this show, so it's fine.
All right. Hey, Henry. Hey, I want to thank Aaron Holcomb for picking the Dollars trilogy. It's not really a trilogy, but it definitely counts for the show, and it was a great pick. 3 great movies. Let's rank them, Henry.
I'm ready.
I'm ready too. And going into this, I would have told you, bar none, my rankings are 3-1-2.
Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't have had an opinion on the ranking of 1 and 2. I just would have known that 3 would have been number 1, like by a lot. By a lot.
Henry, I've been wrong all of these years, and I know that most of the listeners will probably rank this baby 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
But my friends, the discovery for me was for a few dollars more, and I am going to, and I see Henry nodding his head. He's going to agree with me. This is a 2-3-1 situation.
Completely. 2-3-1. I totally agree.
I can't believe I'm walking out of this as number one for a few dollars more fan, but I am.
I think for a few dollars more just has a bit more soul that appealed to me. The ending was just amazing. I love the camaraderie and good.
All right, I heard camaraderie. Hey, sorry.
Who cares? Who cares? 2-3-1.
Listen, I love this this third one, but that second one I think has everything you want from the first and the third one in one movie. It's like if I'm gonna watch a Leone epic, like if I'm gonna watch a brilliant Leone epic, I believe Once Upon a Time in the West and America are better than every movie in this trilogy. Those are my Leone movies, but I think if I want to watch one of these, the perfect middle ground, both literally and figuratively, is for a few dollars more.
Yeah, I agree. That was a big revelation for me, for sure.
Big revelation. All right, gang. Patreon.com/thefranchise. Go there. We ranked the 100 best movies of the 90s. Massive list. The 90s. What a decade for cinema.